Hi, my name is Precious, and one of my bachelor's of science is in psychology. Let's talk about how to recognize and break free from toxic relationships. Whether it's a friendship, a family dynamic, a romantic relationship, toxic relationships can be so draining. It can affect your mental health and hold you back from being your best. Here's the good news: you can break free from that cycle or that connection and reclaim your peace. So let's take a deep dive into this. Okay, let's start by defining what a toxic relationship really is. A toxic relationship is like a parasite. It feeds off your energy. It drains you. It drains you emotionally, physically, and even mentally. Just like a parasite needs a host, toxic relationship needs a host to feed off of. Whether it's control or validation or even power, they leave you feeling depleted and unbalanced. But the truth is, toxicity does not always look obvious. It's not just about the big fights or dramatic moments. Sometimes it can be subtle that it builds up over time. It's the little things, it's the dismissive comments, the guilt trips, or the lack of support when you truly need it. Okay, so I'm gonna list out some of the most common traits of toxic relationships. The first one is constant criticism. Instead of constructive feedback, they tear you down and try to make you question your worth. The second is obvious, but manipulation. They twist situations to make you feel guilty. They often try to gaslight you. The third one is lack of reciprocity. Healthy relationships are about a give and take. But in a toxic dynamic, it's often one-sided. They're taking, and they're not really giving anything or even much in return. The fourth one is emotional roller coasters. One day they're loving and supportive, the next day they're distant and dismissive. They leave you walking on eggshells. It's important to note that toxicity doesn't always mean that the person is being intentionally harmful. Sometimes they're acting out of their own unresolved pain and insecurities. However, that does not mean you have to accept their behavior and allow them to harm you. Recognizing these patterns is one of the first steps for you to reclaim your peace. Toxic relationships can often blur the lines between love, but I'm going to give you some ways on how to notice them. The first thing I want you to ask yourself, do you feel drained after hanging out with this person? Pay attention to how your body and your mind is reacting. Do you feel energized or happy? Do you feel anxious, drained, or on the edge? Toxic relationships act like emotional parasites. They sap up your energy and your joy and leave you completely drained. So pay attention to those cues. The second one is, do they respect your boundaries? In a healthy relationship, your no's are respected and your limits are honored and respected as well. Toxic individuals oftentimes ignore your boundaries. They don't listen to your no's. They push you out of your comfort zone for their own interests. And if you don't agree with them, they typically try to gaslight you or guilt trip you. If your boundaries are consistently being disrespected, that is a major flag. It doesn't even have to be consistently being disrespected. The first time someone crosses your boundaries and you've already addressed it in the past, let them know once if you want. You don't have to let them know. I usually just cut people off because I let people show me who they are. And if I don't like who they are, I cut them off and I just let them go. But however, in your case, you can address it just one more time. And if they do it again, say bye-bye and close the door. The third one is, ask yourself, are you walking on eggshells? If you find yourself constantly overthinking what you say to avoid conflict, that is a major red flag. Healthy relationships are built on trust and communication, not fear of making someone angry and not fear of disapproval from that person. The fourth one is, do they support your personal growth? In a healthy relationship, people are encouraging one another's success. But in a toxic dynamic, the individual that is toxic doesn't acknowledge your achievements. They try to dismiss it because they're jealous. The fifth one I want you to ask yourself is, do I feel seen or valued? Toxic relationships often revolve around one person's needs and their feelings. That imbalance can take a toll on your self-worth. Remember, toxic relationships thrive on emotional confusion. You might think to yourself, oh, but they've done nice things to me. Oh, but they didn't mean to hurt me. But in all honesty, that is the trap. A parasite does not survive by being obvious. It latches on quietly and feeds unnoticed. Your job is to shine a light on these behaviors and see how they are affecting your well-being. Now, let's address the question, why is it so hard to leave toxic relationships? If it's draining and harmful, why not just walk away? The answer lies in psychology and human emotion. I do believe that when you love and value yourself, it's easier for you to say no to individuals who are not benefiting you. Even though it's hard to let go, it's easier for you to let go. So for me, this stems from a place of insecurity and lack of self-worth. But I will say the number one thing is emotional attachment. A parasite creates dependency on its host. Toxic individuals often foster emotional dependency. Might give you just enough love and attention. They might sprinkle it in just to keep you hooked. They do this so that they trick you into thinking that you need them to feel whole or that things will get better. The second one is the hope for change. A lot of people oftentimes hold on to the notion that people will change and they can change for them if they just try harder. But the thing is, it's not your job to change someone. Change comes from within. When someone wants to change, they will because they want to, not because you made them to or because you influenced them to change. Holding on to false hopes, especially in a toxic relationship, can keep you tied to a cycle of disappointment. The third one is fear of being alone. Toxic relationships can take a toll on someone's self-confidence. It oftentimes makes people feel like they are unworthy of love, so this is the only person who will ever love them or treat them good, when in reality, that person is treating them terribly. Number 4 is manipulation and gaslighting. So toxic individual oftentimes gaslight you. They make you question your reality and make you think that the problem is your fault. The fifth one is cultural and societal pressures. Sometimes external factors can make it difficult for some individuals to leave a toxic dynamic. Remember, I'm not only talking about toxic dynamics in romantic relationships. This can also be in friendships and in family members as well. Leaving a toxic relationship is not about being strong enough. That's why I said it's about self-love and self-trust, because you're understanding the dynamics that are at play. To break free from toxic relationship, the first step is for you to acknowledge the problem. Be honest with yourself and acknowledge and accept that that relationship is unhealthy and it is not serving you at all. Number 2, set boundaries. Limit the time that you are spending with this individual. Number 3 is seek support. However that means to you, just seek support from someone that you trust and care about, and that person cares about you too. The next step for you is to create an exit plan. After that, prioritize self-care. Breaking free can be so emotionally draining, so take time to focus on yourself. The last step is for you to stay firm. Toxic dynamics can try to manipulate you into staying, but you need to stand firm in your decision of leaving. Leaving a toxic relationship is just the beginning of your healing journey. Reflect and learn. Reconnect with yourself and forgive yourself, especially if you stayed longer than you should have, because you did what you could with what you knew at that time. Also, take ownership for the role you played in your own suffering so that you don't make those same mistakes again, but do not beat yourself up for it. Toxic relationships can feel like a heavy weight, but you have the strength to leave and to walk out of those dynamics. I know it's not easy, but trust me, it's so worth it. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if there's any more topics you'd like me to further expand on. Bye guys.